Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar organized by Docsity in partnership with Fordham, Gabelli School of Business. My name is Alessandra. Nice to meet you all. And I will be your host for today's event on behalf of Docsity. So I see here that we already have some participants that are starting to join us. So we are gonna wait a couple of minutes before starting to allow everyone to connect. But in the meantime, feel free to say hi on our chat here on Zoom, and please tell us where you're from, because we're curious to know. So first of all, I want to thank everyone for joining us and also thank our panelists for being here with us today. And I want to introduce you all to Catherine O'Hara, the Assistant Director of Admissions and Recruitment, and two of the students at Fordham that are going to share their experiences with us, Arjun and David. So welcome. It's a pleasure to have you here with us. And together with them, we're going to discover what it is like to study business in New York. So we are going to learn more about their internationally ranked programs, all about the admission process and also the scholarships available, and also more about their online options. And you will also have the possibility to interact with our speakers and ask them questions. So talking about that, I would like to remind you all that after the presentation, we will have a Q&A session where you will be able to ask questions to our panelists. So please don't be shy and just type all of your questions here in the box on Zoom, and we will go through all of the questions at the end of the webinar. Also, for those of you interested in receiving a certificate of attendance by Docsity, for this specific webinar, stay tuned because we will be posting the link for the certificate at the end of the Q&A session. So I see that there are some more people that are joining us. So I think we are able to start now. So welcome to those who just joined us. And I'm now leaving the floor to Catherine and David and Arjun for their presentation. So see you in a bit. Thank you and enjoy.
Thank you so very much. Thank you. I am so delighted to be here. My name is Catherine O'Hara, and as you know, I'm an Assistant Director of Admissions here at the Gabelli School of Business. I cannot tell you how excited I am that I'm joined by two of my wonderful, my colleagues. They are absolutely my colleagues because they work in our office as well as being fabulous graduate business students with us. And so they'll be joining us in a few moments. Actually, I can say if when you join them, I will have them introduce themselves. But now I'm actually going to be just talking about studying in New York. I'll be honest with you, the focus really is the experience and all the great advantages of being in New York. So we'll be talking about that on different levels. So the agenda is, again, a very, very warm welcome to everybody taking your time out. I know that you're from all over the world, and so it's, different time zones. So thank you for whatever time it is in your neck of the woods that you are with us today. I'll be talking about, as I say, the benefits of studying in New York, the Gabelli Advantage, our school, and then you'll have the opportunity to hear Arjun's and David's wonderful experience in New York and in the school. So here, I just want to go over the MBA programs that we have. We do offer the MBA in 3 formats. We have the full-time MBA, which the program structure is 2 years. And that really is for people who are looking to potentially pivot or make a change in their function or the industry that they're in. I know as international students that you would be with us full-time. So that's a program, if you're interested in the MBA, that you might be interested in. And it's a fabulous program. We also offer it as a part-time basis. That's our professional MBA. That takes people about 2 or 3 years, and those are for working professionals who typically want to rise within their company, and they like the industry that they're in, and so they're hoping to stay in it, but just rise within the ranks, so to speak. Then we have our executive MBA, and that is a 21-month program, consecutive months, and that is for our experienced managers. So if you are in that category, this program is considered full-time. So if you're, as an international student, if you do have several years of work experience, then the executive MBA program might be the one for you. And as I say, they all have different profile of the student background and the number of years of work experience that they typically have. And now I want to talk a little bit just about our MS programs, our specialized master's programs. And they are truly that. They are specializing in a particular area where you really do a deep dive and develop skills specific to that area. We have it broken down into suites: our analytics, business technology, finance, management, and professional services. And so all of our programs are offered on a full-time basis. Almost half of them are also offered on a part-time basis. But again, as international students, full-time is what you would be interested in and doing. And so all of them have the full-time option. We have 3 that are also online: our finance, management, and our strategic marketing communications. And they are solely online. So that's potentially another option if you're interested in that. I will say that for our specialized master's programs, we don't require any full-time work experience. A lot of our students, I'd say practically all of our students, come with very strong internship work, which is fabulous, but they don't have full-time work experience, which is defined by after graduating. After you finish your undergraduate work, the work that you do post-graduation. So these are the suites, as I say, of programs, and I'll be talking a little bit about them, really not in detail, but how this studying in New York really plays out in some of these programs. So the big question: why study business in New York? And certainly our cultural diversity is very, very important and wonderful. We really are a microcosm of the world. We have such diversity in the city, with multiple cultures being represented, multiple languages that you hear while you're walking the streets. So the cultural diversity really is very, very attractive to people. And we're very blessed, I would say, that we live in a city and work in the city that has such cultural diversity. Then, of course, access to industry professionals. And that is very important because everybody on this call is thinking about earning their graduate degree in business. And so either you are in that position again who just wants to rise the ladder in your company, or you are potentially changing industries. And so the connection with industry professionals is crucial. And that happens inside of the classroom and outside of the classroom. For networking opportunities, you can't beat New York. I mean, all the different people you'll be meeting, that's another very important part of studying in the U.S. because, in New York rather, because of the multiple networking opportunities. And networking is not, it's not a natural skill. It's something you have to develop. And so we are here to help you do that, and also give you the very important opportunities inside and outside of the classroom. And then, of course, the last being the cultural opportunities, the theater, the museums. Our school is located, which I'll talk about in another second, in such a great area. All of this is right around us. So as far as the cultural opportunities, they're boundless, quite frankly. So when you talk about New York City, I just want to briefly say that is comprised of 5 boroughs. It's the Bronx, Queens, Brooklyn, and Manhattan, and Staten Island. And Fordham University actually has 4 campuses. We have 2 in the city, 1 in the Bronx, and of course our Manhattan campus. And then we have also Westchester, which is a little further north of New York City, and we have a campus in London as well. And so our school is located, the school that you would be taking classes in, graduate business classes, are all in our Lincoln Center campus in Manhattan. So here I want to talk about the fact that, what does the city feel like and look like? So it has over 8.5 million people in a very relatively small space. The island of Manhattan is actually 12 miles long and 3 miles wide. So it's actually not very large. So it's very dense, but very manageable, very manageable. And again, when we speak about diversity, all the different languages that you'll hear, it's just quite beautiful. And then over 37% of New Yorkers were actually born outside of the US. So it's very, very, many, many cultures that you'll be experiencing here. And so just a little shout out to our location. If you can see that box there, that gold box, that is where we are in an absolutely beautiful, beautiful part of the city. We are just 2 blocks away from Central Park. We are just, a short subway ride from the Wall Street area. And so as business students, of course, location is very important. I'll talk a little bit about the surrounding areas and all the different companies that are around us. So it's really, really a great place to study and to just be and to be connected with the business world. So again, the heart of New York City. It is the business capital of the world. We're very, very proud of that. We certainly have great respect for all places of the world, but we are happy to say that we are considered by many to be the business capital of the world. And what does that mean? That means that we have so many opportunities for our students. So we have prestigious financial services, again, very close to Wall Street by subway. It's not within walking distance, but by subway. And so you have the stock exchange and great opportunities down there. So many financial firms. Then we have media outlets. I mean, literally around the corner from our campus are major media outlets. Quite frankly, most of our network companies, ABC, CBS, NBC, our public television. It's literally right around. We're almost hugged by the media industry where we are in our campus. Then, of course, we have the conglomerates, the tech conglomerates. We have I'm blanking on the name, actually, sorry. We have Meta. They changed their name. I'm still in the old school with it. So Meta obviously has a very strong presence here. They're down by the yards. And so very, very exciting to be in such close proximity to them. And then Google also just opened their brand new space in New York City, and it's actually their largest campus in North America, and it's a beautiful facility. And actually, when you look them up and you're involved with them, or you're researching, they actually have created their space in neighborhoods. Literally, they have neighborhoods, so different areas for their teams to be working. So they're mimicking the city itself. We have many neighborhoods that have different flavors, different energy, and so Google has that in their companies as well. And then, of course, we have several retail companies that we are very, in close proximity to. So what is the advantage of being with us at Fordham Gabelli School of Business? Well, it is definitely the immersion of a global learning environment. So we have students from all over the world, and it is very, very exciting that we do. And so we actually have 70% of our graduate business students are international. So they bring with them their beautiful, wonderful way of thinking, their global perspective. And our professors also have a wonderful global perspective. And so when we talk about being, in New York and at Gabelli, we're really talking about hands-on learning experiences as well, which is key. So with the MBA program, if you're involved with our full-time MBA program, you'll be doing a consulting project, really hands-on, wonderful. And I will say this, a lot of MBA programs actually do more like site visits, which is wonderful, but we really still do a consulting project. So I think our students really get a deeper experience. If you're involved with if you're a part of our MS in Marketing Intelligence, you'll have an applied project. So in their last semester, their third semester, they work with companies doing a consulting project. And some of the companies they've worked with are Bloomberg and Pfizer. and the Food Network is one of my favorites. And so a great, great opportunity for our students to be in that program, to be really having that real world experience. We have our business analytics students that are involved. My next slide actually goes into a little bit more of what they can do. March Madness is a big, big exciting time for us at this time of the year, where the students are really getting involved with analyzing the different aspects of the March Madness with the basketball, and really bringing that kind of numbers and analytics into something more exciting and lively and fun. As well as our MSIT students, they have worked on doing research with the UN. So there are many, many opportunities to really be getting hands-on experience. Then we talk about internship opportunities. So all of our students will have a career advisor. And so they will have the opportunity to work with the career advisor. We don't place anybody actually in an internship. The students have to be very, very proactive and work with the career advising who has different workshops to build up their skills, their interview skills, their resume review, but then also they have several databases where the jobs are posted and the internships are posted, and the students will be able to take advantage of those. Depending on your program, again, for our MBA students, they are expected to do their internship between the summer, between their first year and their second year. And again, the students have to be very proactive, but there's lots of opportunities and resources for them, but they do have to find these internships themselves. The MS programs, depending on the program again, it will be potentially an internship you could do within the program, not as part of the curriculum, but the timing. So if you're in a 3-semester program and you want to do an internship, you might be able to stretch that out to 4 semesters. So you start fall, spring, taking classes. During that summer, you would do an internship and then finish up your classes the following fall. So it all depends on the program, but really you're here because of the great opportunities for internships. Then, of course, we have, world-renowned faculty, really outstanding faculty, and we have the balance of the full-time faculty professors, and who are really, their goal is to do a lot of cutting edge research. They all have their terminal degrees, PhDs, so they really are true academics, and so research is really quite important. And then they bring that information out to the industry and also to the classroom. So the research doesn't stay in a box. Hopefully their research is spreading out throughout the world and being helpful. We have adjunct professors, which are fabulous. They are instructors who are in their daily life industry professionals. So whatever their industry is, they are working there, really in the trenches, doing the real work, and then bringing that experience right back into the classroom. So that's really a great opportunity. We're very lucky to have both our full-time professors as well as our adjuncts. And then they have opportunities for our students. They take them on company visits. They have professional conferences that they go to, which the students often go to as well. And so really having this great faculty is part of the very important experience you'll have here. I want to mention our design lab. And so I mentioned our MS in business analytics students. They often take that wonderful skill of the analytical skills that they have, and they are connected again to industry. So we have this lab, they do their research, and then they do projects with either companies, startups, or government agencies. So again, when you're thinking about coming to graduate school, the key is really this real world experience, that blend of classroom experience plus being in contact with the real industry professionals and working with them as well. So this is an example of that. I want to bring up another example for the Fordham Foundry, which is fabulous. And so as business students, oftentimes you have an entrepreneurial spirit. You might have been thinking about starting a company, or you have an idea for a company for a while. Or you might come to graduate school and actually just get inspired by something you learned in your class, or something just you thought about walking down the streets of New York. And so we here at Gabelli have an opportunity for you to be part of the Fordham Foundry, to be with like-minded individuals who have that entrepreneurial demeanor and interests. But more importantly, they are there for to mentor you. So we actually had a wonderful conference just last week. It was our DEI conference, actually. And we had the director of the Fordham Foundry speak to our participants, which were prospective students. And so he really did a great job explaining what they do. And then they had a panel of 2 alums from Gabelli and 1 current student. And all 3 of the panelists were talking about the company that they started, it's going very well because of the Fordham Foundry. So it's really quite exciting that you have this opportunity. And opportunity is the key word. When you go to graduate school, you want as many opportunities as possible. And so they also talk about the angel investment. And so they give advice about how to potentially get, funded for your company. So that's a great opportunity. And then I just want to bring up also the business, responsible business center. So no matter, what you're studying, finance, marketing, business analytics, you still potentially and hopefully have an interest in sustainability. At the Gabelli School of Business, we really feel and we pride ourselves on the fact that we are teaching future business leaders of the world. And so really it's important for you to have a sense of, how your decisions as the leader of a company affects the different stakeholders. And one of the stakeholders is actually the world itself, the environment. And so this wonderful center that we have really looks and connects with different industries to talk about sustainability and business responsibility. They have currently been working with the fashion industry. I think we've all heard about the circular economy and how it's important to really not be just disposing of everything, that it's really about recycling and repairing and repurposing different items. So, innately, the fashion industry, the manufacturing and all has a lot of challenges when it comes to the environment. So it was really exciting. I happened to go to one of their conferences, and really exciting to hear about how the companies, in this case, some of the fashion industries, are really, really doing great work in trying to avoid all of the waste that they have. So very exciting that our students are involved with this, that they can participate, and they're involved with the faculty and industry. So what I would like to kind of reiterate all the time is that you have plenty of opportunities to be with industry. And so this is another important slide. When you talk about business school, I often say there's 2 words you hear over and over again, and one is networking and leadership. And of course, you'll be, honing your leadership skills during the program in many ways. And so the next thing is your networking. And again, it's not a natural skill necessarily for everybody. So we have our career development office that really does help you. Each program has a career advisor as well as an academic advisor. And so you really will be building up your skills and getting used to doing networking. But as far as opportunities, so we have over 11,000 alumni in the New York area, which we're very excited about, and we have tens of thousands around the world. And so they are people who have had a great experience here at the Gabelli School of Business, and now they're very interested in passing along and passing along the goodness that they've experienced and the knowledge that they've gained, and helping our current students. So oftentimes you can, have a coffee chat because of our proximity to all these wonderful companies. You could have a coffee chat during the day and then be back in time for a class. And I always say there's no better way to really learn about a company or a role, a particular job function, than to really speak to somebody who is in that company and who has that role. So getting this inside information is really, really key. So really, we are very proud of our alumni base, and it's an opportunity for our students to really be able to connect with them. But there's also a lot of other ways to network. So we do have I want to say first, you start with what's closest to you, and that would be the students in your program, your classmates. We have over 20 student organizations that we really we more than encourage, we really expect our students to participate in, and that's because it helps with the networking as well. Remember that the students in your class, your classmates, are your classmates today, but they are your future business colleagues for really a lifetime. So we start, with that, and then there's other opportunities. Professors often invite guest speakers, industry experts to come into the classroom and talk and present. And then, of course, they stay and they get to meet our students. So that's a great opportunity. We have wonderful speaker series. We have a great dean speaker series where she brings in great industry professionals to discuss different topics. And so really you can connect with them. Our career development office actually has set opportunities where they have they highlight an industry and they bring in and bring in people from that particular industry to talk. So really it's getting to meet these people. And then the different events we have, as I say, last week we had a wonderful a conference. The Business and Women, they had their conference last week and they do a fabulous job. It's one of our student organizations. And every year they put on a fabulous conference with many, many panelists. And so it was really a great opportunity for our students to mingle and mix with the industry professionals. And by the way, Women in Business is open to our male students as well. So very inclusive. Of course, we have other opportunities. Our media management program is having their alumni conference next week. So again, all these wonderful alums from the program are coming back and sharing their great experience and talking to our students. So that's a great opportunity. Our marketing intelligence program is having a career conference in about in a week or two, and that's going to be very exciting, where they really are bringing in industry professionals from the different marketing companies, and they are talking to our students and really talking about the different careers and potentially openings that they may have. So being here at the Gabelli School of Business really, really is all about making that connection. And with the topic of, when we start off by saying being in New York really, really benefits you by having all these very wonderful opportunities. I will say another thing, we also expect that our students are very involved, because, the more involved, it's like anything in life. The more you put into it, the more you do get out of it. And I just want to share one other thing about what I learned, and I'm so happy our students and our prospective students actually learned as well. Part of the DEI conference we had last week, we actually had the hiring managers, the recruiters from 3 major companies join us. And they really gave the inside scoop about, what they're looking for, how to prepare. And over again, they said they underscored the importance of networking, and how networking, that first conversation might seem difficult to really connect with somebody, but it is difficult, but you'll do it. But the more important thing is actually keeping that connection. So again, the networking opportunities, and they also say that sometimes people are a little bit shy and they think that, oh, everybody is reaching out to somebody. And they said, actually, no, a lot of people actually do not reach out to industry professionals. So that's a tip for you. Don't be shy about it. And then once you do make that connection, nurture that connection and really keep it going. And so I just want to say, before I bring in our wonderful current students, I want to just say then, of course, beyond the classroom, there are so many things in New York that are really so exciting. We have just the people themselves. If you just absorb the energy and excitement that all these different cultures bring to our city. We have, certainly the museums, and we have restaurants. If you walk out our campus onto the, no matter which direction you go, there's rows and rows of different, restaurants with different cuisines. So it's very, very exciting. Of course, we have major music venues. If anybody loves jazz, I happen to love jazz. We are just down the block from Jazz at Lincoln Center, and we are within arm's reach pretty much of the Lincoln Center Performing Arts. So we have the ballet and the symphony. So really, it's a great opportunity. I know that our students don't have a lot of free time. I was just actually speaking to our David and Arjun before this session, and quite frankly, they don't have a lot of free time, but when they do, they have lots of opportunities. So that's really what I wanted to talk about, which was the topic of really why New York? Why do you want to be here? What the advantages of are, and certainly what the advantages are of the Gabelli School of Business if you're a student with us. So I thank you very much for that. And now I'd like to bring in Arjun and David to join the conversation. So thank you so much. I'm going to ask you first to introduce yourselves. David, I'll start with you if you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone. So I'm David. I was born in Ghana and moved to the UK when I was about 14, where I finished my education and been working in finance over the last couple of years. And then decided to come to New York to pursue my MBA. But I'm guessing there's going to be more information on that later. So that's just a brief overview about who I am. And fun fact is, I can name every single country in Africa on a blank map.
Wonderful, David. That's really wonderful. Thank you. Thank you so much. And Arjun, a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. So, hi everyone. My name is Arjun Trivedi. I'm born and raised in Mumbai, India, and I've come here to pursue my master's in marketing intelligence. I have pursued my undergrad in management with a major in marketing. That's when I realized that marketing is something I want to kind of pursue academically and professionally. And in the search for a great university offering a great marketing curriculum, I landed up here in the heart of New York. And it's great to be a part of this session. And I'll talk more about myself as we go on and have our discussion. But yeah, glad to be here.
Wonderful. Thank you, Arjun. So yes, so you mentioned a little bit, Arjun, about that you chose Gabelli, but that's my question to both of you. So why Gabelli? Arjun, you did mention it a little bit, but so I'll jump to David. David, why Gabelli? Why did you choose Gabelli?
For me, it was numerous factors, right? One is, again, living in London, I wanted to be in a city where that has sort of like the same type of proximity to London in general. So there was only one city, which was New York, that really can't compare, in my opinion, anyway. And then I also had a very good experience with the admissions department. One of the associate deans, Dylan, actually recruited me in London, had a great conversation. He literally calmed almost every nerve in my body when it comes to pursuing an MBA, because it's an MBA one, obviously it's like one of the most prestigious business degrees you can have. So it comes with a lot of expectations and a lot of pressure. So for me, having that great conversation, it felt like I was speaking with a colleague, and that was something that led to, like, I knew that Gabelli was going to be a place with big on community, very tight knit. And of course, with the MBA program as well, having a very small class size was another draw for me, because when I went to undergrad, it was a very, very big class size, and I couldn't really make any one-to-one connections with my classmates. But with Gabelli, knowing that it was going to be a class size of maybe less than 70, I've had the opportunity now to connect with every single classmate I have. So all of these separate factors, of course, like the location, the experience with admissions, and of course the class size as well, was all reasons why I chose Gabelli amongst many others.
Perfect. Thank you. And yes, David, thank you for bringing that up. We are, our class size, you'll never be in a class literally with more than, 45 people or so. It's not, some schools, and again, everybody, we have wonderful schools in New York, obviously, wonderful schools throughout the world. It's really about the right fit for you, but I will say you're never here at Gabelli in a classroom, a big auditorium where you're just one of 100 people or 200 people in a class. It's a very wonderful, intimate experience, professional intimacy, where you really are, you get to know your classmates very well and your professors very well. So thank you for bringing it up, David. Arjun, I'll back up to you. You mentioned that it was really the MS in Marketing Intelligence program that brought you to us. So can you talk a little bit about what was attractive to that? about the
Absolutely.
program?
So, I think 7 months ago when I joined, and before that, I think there was no plan to move to the US or New York specifically, but I just wanted to sort of upskill myself, be exposed to the analytical side of marketing because that's what the world is leading to. And just researching my way, I found the MSMI program. Went through its curriculum, and I realized that that is something that exactly matches with something I'm looking for. And apart from that, when I again did my research, I realized that Gabelli is a very strong business school. The faculty is really comes with a lot of rich experience, and it's in the heart of New York. Again, coming from Mumbai, which is also a very fast-paced city, I didn't want to sort of let that go because that is something where I was comfortable, and I like fast-paced cities. So coming to New York is definitely an upgrade, especially in a business school. Life's faster than ever, and I that's something that I was looking for, especially at this age. And again, the amount of opportunities that New York has. Uh, I can say that now that I've been here for 6 months, I can say that I'm kind of experiencing everything that I thought I would. And there's this image of New York being the land of opportunities, and I mean, today stand by it. I can say that I've been offered opportunities and I've been exposed to opportunities that I wouldn't have otherwise. And if you're willing enough, I mean, that's what I thought, and that's what I was told, that if you're willing enough to put in your 100%, you will definitely reach the place that you want to. And I think that's absolutely true. So these were the things that went in my head, and I sort of took a chance, and I'm here, I'm happy.
Beautiful. Thank you, Arjun. And so, during my presentation, I talked about networking and the importance of networking. So, may I ask both of you to share like your experiences and, how you have found the opportunities here at Gabelli?
I guess I'll take that one first. For me, so I first got my offer to come to Fordham in March last year. So I went literally about exactly a year ago when I got my admissions letter, right? So obviously you have the euphoria, you're really excited, but now you start thinking, especially if you're going to an MBA program, you start thinking, okay, what are the next steps? What do I need to do? For me, I made a list of the companies that I really wanted to work for. So the first thing I did was I reached out to any Fordham alum in those companies, right? And I started networking. I'll use American Express as an anecdote. I started networking at American Express in April of 2023. And I reached out to at least 6 or 7 people before I even stepped foot in Gabelli, right? Just getting to know them, getting to know their experience, and getting to know also their time at Fordham, because realistically, they would have had the same experience that I'm looking to embark, the journey I'm looking to embark on. So I reached out to up to about 6 people. A couple of them were not from Fordham, but the majority of them were. I got to know about their experience, how the MBA program generally, and how Gabelli prepared them for the role they're in now, and the journey it took for them to get there. And all the advice was, listen, reach out to more people, speak to more people, network with more people, right? And I kept doing that. So I spoke to alums even from London Business School, who've actually moved from the UK as well to the New York office of Amex, people who went to Chicago Booth and Michigan Ross. So I networked with so many different people from different universities, and not just at American Express. I did at MasterCard. I did at some of the top banks as well. Just putting your name out there, just getting to speak with people. Like as Kathy said earlier, it can be a bit nerve-wracking at the beginning, but the more you do it, the more you get into the habit of, okay. And one advice is, don't go in thinking I'm here to ask you for a job. Don't do that. You come in wanting to just get to know the person, just wanting to get to know their journey. And from that, listen, you might take some information from it, you might find it useless, but you wouldn't know how useful or how useless it is until you've actually done it. And for me, it worked out. I continue to keep in touch with majority of the people that I've met at American Express, at some of these different banks. You try to relate to them somehow so that the next time you reach out to them, even if it's after 6 months, right? You still have that common ground to speak of. I actually met a guy who's an investment banker in Bird, and yeah, we come from the same country, which is Ghana. However, we hadn't spoken about 6 months, but I knew he was a big football fan. So the next time I reached out to him was the time that his team was playing. So that was a good way to sort of, again, engage in that network. Hey, your team is really, your team sucks at the moment. How do you feel? And so another way to sort of just gain that, make sure that relationship continues to go. So like networking for me, that's a good example of a time when I've networked with different individuals, and that's also how I found my internship, through that network, through, again, with using the same network for interview prep, just getting to know more and more about what the company is currently doing, things that you can't find exactly online. But these are people in these companies who can continue to feed you information, which again helps you if you do get an interview with them, you have these names to draw on.
Perfect. Thank you, David. And you're right, finding common ground, such as football or any kind of common ground, is really a great introduction to meeting somebody. Arjun, can you share your experience with networking opportunities?
Absolutely. So adding on to what David said and completely agreeing to what he mentioned about approaching networking to kind of know people more, that I think is an ability. So I sort of always love talking to people, getting to know them. And obviously there are people who I mean, it doesn't naturally come to them, but this is an absolute skill. I think it goes way longer than people assume it to. It's an absolute lifesaver at situations, because just wanting to know and talk to people kind of exposes you to so many diverse set of opinions. You learn so much just while speaking to people, and especially when you're in New York, you're exposed to a lot of people from across the world with diverse experiences, and to sort of put yourself out there to network with people is extremely important. I was just mentioning to Catherine and David about a story where I just landed up in class 45 minutes early, and a professor of mine, she asked me if I was willing to volunteer for an event that was for the IAA, that is the International Advertising Association. And I was like, yeah, why not? I mean, that kind of exposes me to more sort of people. I can learn more about them. And like, in the event was related to marketing, so I just sort of took it up instantly. I volunteered for that event, and I sort of liked what I saw. I sort of liked managing events. Also exposed me to a lot of marketing related theories. So I sort of went on to another event as a volunteer, and by the second event, they sort of saw that I'm kind of driven to volunteer and that I'm sort of putting up the work for them without essentially expecting anything in return. So in the third one, they asked me to lead a team of volunteers. And after the third event, now we're in talks to land a summer internship for me. So as an international student, I have friends who are applying left, right, and center, and they may get accepted, they may get rejected, but it's not like the job market works in a way where you can predict things. Even if you don't land a job, you can't take it personally because you don't know if it's because of you. It can be because of the market, it can be because of the job role, it can be because of the need of the company. So it's just that I have networked and I sort of have that connection, and I don't have to sit and apply and kind of be scared if I'm going to be accepted or rejected, because I've kind of made that connection for life without wanting anything in return. So I think that sort of gives you back in a way where, they'll give you, I mean, just the world, the universe will come back to you without wanting anything in return. So I think that mentality is important. And the best thing about New York is that if I was in any other part of the country or the world, I don't know if I would have landed an internship or not, or if this would have converted somewhere or not. But in New York, there's always a 70 to 100% chance that this might convert to something. So as a student, I think that's all that you need, right? You need opportunities. So that was like a quick story that I wanted to get out.
It looks like you're muted.
Yes, sorry. There was a bit of noise on the outside, so I wasn't sure if you could hear it, so I muted myself, but I'm here now again. So we have just about 2 minutes literally before we open it up to our questions from the audience. So I just want to briefly ask you just about your professors, how you enjoyed them and what they bring to the table, literally. So you actually have 1 minute each to share kind of how you feel about your professors.
Okay. For me, it's a different learning experience, right? Because from the UK, they teach really differently than they do here. This is more, you come to class prepared and you have more of a discussion. compared to the UK where you come in with zero knowledge and then you get taught the stuff, right? So there are a few professors that I've really learned a lot from, like Sir Tan Kabaya, professor of marketing. Like I said, I was mentioning earlier, he's way too smart for his own good. He knows his stuff. And he's a full-time faculty, and then on the other side we have Professor Zepolo, what's the name, lecturer in finance, and he's an adjunct professor. Also, he teaches you if you want to go into investment banking or the really high finance roles. Like, he's one person's class that I would advise you take, because you do end up learning a lot from them as well. So again, one is on marketing, one is on finance, but again, different tracks. However, you get to learn a lot from them, and that's on the MBA side. I feel like with Sir Tan, I don't know if like MS students can take his classes, because I feel like he's more of a full-time MBA. However, with Zerpolo, if you're going into finance, you can actually take his class, whether you're undergrad, MBA, or an MS student. So yeah, that's a good example I'll have.
Perfect, David. And Arjun?
Right. So Fordham, I think, has a good balance between adjunct professors who work in the real world and sort of full-time professors. To name a few professors, I think Professor Mohammad Najad is our area chair for the marketing. He's, I think, the mind behind Gabelli being ranked 10th for marketing in the US. And just working with him, you know that he knows his stuff. That he just knows about all kind of marketing theories and the richness of what marketing can do to the world. He just knows it to the depth, and any lecture that he takes, it kind of rubs off on you. So you kind of get more educated in that sense, along with probably an adjunct professor like Professor Ankur, who works in digital marketing, who also takes a digital marketing class. So she literally runs from her office at 5:45 to take a lecture with us. So we can literally see how these theories that probably we learn in Professor Nejad's lecture can be applied to a real world scenario because of Professor Ankur's kind of experience. And she gives us a real world, maybe her program is structured in a way where she gives us things to learn that she do in a day-to-day. And she's a vice president at her organization. So we kind of understand that even from a managerial point of view. So I think kind of relating that to the real world is really cool. So that's a good balance, I think, that Gabelli has with all of its courses.
Perfect. Thank you, Arjun. Well, thank you, David, and thank you, Arjun, so very, very much. We are so honored that you are our students, and we are very lucky to have both of you. So I think, and I want you to stay with me now, so we can answer these questions together. So thank you, thank you.
Hello again, everyone. So first of all, I want to thank you for the perfect and thorough presentation. And also I want to thank Arjun and David for their experiences. And I think that we can start with the questions right away because we have a few. So again, if you want to ask some more questions, you still have the time to do so. So the important thing is that you write them in the Q&A box. So let's start with the first one, shall we? This person wants to know if they can apply for a master in business analytics within his undergrad last semester using the unofficial transcript. And also he wants to know more about the scholarships opportunities.
Perfect. So yes, that's two great questions. So the first is yes, everybody can submit their application using an unofficial transcript. And we can review your application and make a determination just using your unofficial. If all goes well and you get into the program and you decide to join us, then you have a small window of time before the program starts in order to submit your official. And the official transcripts have to come directly from the institution. So yes, unofficial is perfect, but before you start the program, we do need the official. And the second is the scholarships. So we do have merit-based scholarships, and they are exactly what the title is, merit, meaning the strength of the application. So here at the Gabelli School of Business, we take a very holistic approach. We look at all the different data points to determine whether or not we will be awarding a scholarship. The good news is there is not a separate application. We actually take all the information that you have submitted for the program itself the application for the program, and we use those details. So the ranges vary between the MS programs and the MBA programs. So for the MS programs, they run between 3,500 to 30,000, with the average being about 15. And then for the MBA program, it's actually a bit higher. I think they start at 30 and they could go up to as high as actually full scholarship. But to be honest with you, the full scholarships are very, very unique. They're it's very, very competitive. So, but that is a big range from 30 to full scholarship. And as I say, not a separate application.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Catherine. So just to be sure, here we have another question, and the question is there any chance of scholarships except merit-based?
So actually, that is the only scholarship that we have. But we have other opportunities. We have graduate assistantships. I mentioned that both Arjun and David are my colleagues because they're working here in the office alongside myself and other of the admissions team. And so that they are also very competitive as well. They are not guaranteed, but there is an application process, and if all goes well, we do count very heavily on our graduate assistants. They work very, very hard. And on a personal level, it's nice, from admissions, I get to meet people and it's wonderful when I'm meeting them, but then I have to pass them along to the academic advisors. But with our graduate assistants, I get to know them and have them around. So it's really rewarding for myself and my teammates to have wonderful graduate assistants. So they are available, but they are very competitive and not guaranteed.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, Catherine. So the next question is, do I have to present an English test to get admitted? And do you offer courses to improve my English while studying?
Great answer. So yes, for students who have studied outside of the US, where English is not one of their official languages, they do have to submit a English proficiency exam, either TOEFL, IELTS, and Duolingo. So they have their choice. Those are the three that we accept. For the students who actually do want to improve their English skills before they arrive, we do have an opportunity. It is I believe it's called Gabelli Talk. And so that's an opportunity the summer before the classes start in the fall, where they come to the campus early, actually, and they're fully submerged in the culture and the language. So there is an ability to take advantage of that as well.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So next one is, how important is my GMAT score in the application process? Are there any minimum requirements?
Okay, so COVID that we experienced had many, many, many effects in the world. One of which was actually our GMAT and GRE scores. We actually, since COVID, we actually have now made that optional. And I say COVID because when COVID hit and it was very difficult for people to even set up an exam, we became a little more, that became a little bit more flexible. So now we are literally having that as an option. We don't want to dissuade anybody from taking it because, as I say, getting into the school and potentially getting a merit-based scholarship means that is based on the strength of your application. So if you definitely, especially if you're going to one of our more analytical programs, MS in quantitative finance or business analytics, we're really showing your ability to handle quantitative material. That is still, a good idea potentially for students to take those exams. But ultimately, it's up to them. If you feel it's going to benefit and strengthen your application, then definitely. But if you're, a little unsure, then it is optional.
Okay, thank you, Catherine, for your answer. So next one. The question is it possible to pay for the master program while working on a student visa?
I'm sorry, repeat that? Sorry.
Yes, absolutely. I said, is it possible to pay for the master program while working on a student visa?
Oh, to apply for the program?
This person wants to know if they can work while studying so that they can pay their masters.
Oh, okay. That's what okay, perfect. So, well, for an international student who is on a student visa, they cannot work outside of the the university. Our graduate assistants, they are working technically and they're working hard on there, but they're working on campus. So that's what they can do. So unfortunately, international students cannot work outside of the university. I will just add another caveat. That's true for internships as well. For our international students, they have to be on campus for 2 semesters before they're able to do an internship. So it's called residential. They have to be in residency for 2 semesters. But that fits in very easily with the timing. So a lot of our programs, they start in the fall, so it's fall, spring, and then the 3rd semester is summer, where it's typically more convenient, and it works in with the laws as well.
Okay, perfect. So talking about international students here, we have a question by Gabriel, and he asks, what advice would you give to international students being an international student yourself? So this one is specifically for Arjun and David.
I'll take this one. I guess Arjun, you could give it from a perspective of maybe like an MS student. So I'll give it from the perspective of someone who has more experience working. Advice is you do what Arjun and I did, you network a lot, because the truth is you have to work 10, 20, 30 times harder than domestic students, because one, you're competing with other international students from other schools for a very limited amount of jobs that will sponsor you. So one, you have to not just work harder than domestic students from your school, but work harder than even the international students from other schools, right? So that is the tough part when it comes to recruiting, but it's not impossible. As you can see, Arjun and I have found internships for the summer. So the advice is, start networking early. If you have already submitted an application, maybe you start preparing for interviews now, and then potentially, obviously, try and if you're able to get your visa and everything sorted before you start, then you have a lot more time to then start networking. As I said, make a list of companies that you want to work for. Check if they do sponsor. If they do, then that's when you focus your network and you focus your strategy, because that is exactly what I did. And look, it's bore fruit. It's not guaranteed that it's going to work, but I have a higher success rate. If you can also read this book called The 2-Hour Job Search, that is an excellent book that would actually help you in terms of how to approach networking and how to approach applying for jobs. Because as Arjun said, you don't want to always just apply blindly, right? Because sometimes it just gets lost in so many different applications. I have a colleague who actually got rejected for a job he had applied for blindly. However, after networking with one of the hiring managers, they actually brought him in for an interview, even though he had officially been rejected by, the ATS-based system that usually screens your resume. So it goes to show that, yes, applying, obviously, numbers, it's a numbers game as well, but also mixing that quantitative part with the qualitative part, which is the networking, it makes it a lot easier to be more successful. So as an international student, my advice is network, work 10 times harder than your domestic colleagues, and again, try and have fun, right? Because at the end of the day as well, you're taking some time out of work to go back to school. So try and have fun, but network a lot, and also just be more proactive than everyone else.
Thank you, David. Thank you. Arjun?
Right, exactly, just that. I mean, piggybacking on everything that he said, I think proactive was the word that he used. I think that's particularly, it's absolutely apt. There are times when you have to work harder than probably a New Yorker in New York, but I don't think that should matter at all. And I think the only advice I'd like to give is that, like I also mentioned, is not to take like rejections personally, because everybody in New York, majority of them are skilled, majority of them are from different parts of the world, and they are all here to make it. So everybody has sort of conflicting goals. And obviously, a company can have only a limited number of vacancies. So not to take things personally, what I'd say is, like I mentioned, network, especially from a master's point of view. From an MBA point of view, I think networking is a big thing, even with your peers, because everybody comes from different kind of work experiences from different parts of the world. But when you're in a master's course, you necessarily don't need work experience. So you're kind of starting from scratch. You're starting a life here. So just put yourself out there, be proactive. Like I mentioned, all these volunteering opportunities, there are multiple that happen. Just start looking for them online. start showing up without wanting anything in return. Just do it because you like it, or because it might lead on to something, and you might actually land something like a job or an internship without even sending out a single application. So, I mean, there are instances like that. Just make sure that you're proactive and you're ready for the opportunity when it comes.
Okay, perfect. Thank you to both of you for your answers. So we still have 1 minute left and we still have some more questions. I want to remind everyone that no matter if you don't get the chance to receive your answer now, don't worry, you're gonna receive in this couple of days after the webinar, the recording of the session and also all the important information and contacts to get in touch with the university. So no problem with that, but maybe we still have time for one last question, which is, can you explain the application procedure? So maybe you can go through all the different steps that they have to take.
Yes, so the application process is actually quite simple. It's online, and it does have, we do need your resume. I want to say that, we are, again, looking at a very holistic approach. So don't be shy about putting different volunteer roles that you have or community service that you're involved with. Here at the Gabelli, we put a lot of emphasis on giving back to the society. So don't think it's just about the internships and the hard facts. We really do want a very good holistic picture of you. As I mentioned, if you need an English proficiency score, please, include that. We have we have one required essay, and I apologize. I did have this as part of the presentation, but I don't have it clicked off yet. So we also have just one required essay. We give you 4 different prompts that you can choose from, and then you will choose one and write about whatever topic that is. We have an optional essay, and that's if you want to explain something in your application or highlight something in your application. Most people don't utilize the optional, but it is there. And then, of course, your transcripts. And transcripts, again, can be unofficial when you're submitting and then official down the road. And even now, our letters of reference are optional. So again, we don't dissuade anybody. We just say that if you choose somebody, it's somebody who knows you well, who can talk about your strengths and your ability to succeed in graduate school. And usually that's for master's students, that's often from a professor. For our MBA students, it is, an employee that they had worked for. So, but you have options. So it's very straightforward. And it's all on our website as well. And then there's an interview. There is an interview for students who it's by invitation only. So when we're reading that application and it seems, really interesting and wonderful, the last step is to then bring it to life by inviting you in for an interview and then getting to know you and talk to you. It's by Zoom, and it's random who you get. It could be me or any of my teammates. Our current students also, and our graduate students also interview. So it's really a chance for us to get to know you better and for you to get to know us as well.
Okay, so perfect. Thank you, Catherine, and also thanks to Arjun and David for sharing their experiences and also for their presentation. So we are done for today, and so before we leave, I want to remind everyone that if you want to request your certificate of attendance by Docsity, you can do so by clicking on the link that was sent on the chat. So again, thanks to our panelists and thanks to all of those who joined us today. And I hope to see you again in the next webinar organized by Docsity in partnership with Fordham, Gabelli School of Business. So bye everyone and have a nice rest of the day.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye-bye. Thank you.